So we are getting very close to the All-Star break, so that means that it's time to review our team in the first half. This is going to be a 5-part series that will go throughout the week. It is part 1 right now. We are doing catchers and infielders. Let's get started.
On 3-2, Vader. Swings and misses, strike 3. He struck him out. 5 big pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
We are basing these grades off of their overall performance so far this season for the team. We're just saying what they've done well, what they've done bad, everything pretty much in between. So let's start with Eduardo Escobar, third baseman, second baseman, pretty much a utility guy. He has a 2-year deal and a club option in the third. So what do you think about Eduardo Escobar?
I gave Eduardo a C-. A really good April where he drew a lot of walks, and we're thinking, hey, this is a different side of Eduardo Escobar, and went through halfway into May, and then the last half of May and June, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Really haven't gotten the power potential that you thought you were going to get. He was supposed to be one of the second power bat in this lineup behind Pete, and he really hasn't given you that. So defensively, was really good in the first month and a half, and then he had that week where he made like 7 errors. But I'm going to give him overall in the first half, I'll give him a C-.
Now, I have Eduardo Escobar at a C. We all know I really was not big on bringing this guy in. I just really think he's kind of overrated. That's just my opinion. I don't really like his approach that much. I really think that he is quite the fly swatter, as I like to say. He is a big fly ball guy. I do like that, but it's just kind of an all or nothing type of thing. I do get a lot of shit for liking Michael Conforto, and a lot of people call him streaky. I don't really believe that. But if Michael Conforto is streaky, what is this guy? Michael Conforto never had an on-base percentage below 300. This guy has really just been a crapshoot at the plate. He is just brutal, and he provides absolutely no value when he is not doing anything offensively. But when he is hot, he's been hot. And we have seen many times where he has done this so far. Either really, really good in the middle of that lineup or really, really bad in the middle of that lineup.
Well, I mean, he did have a lot of RBIs just like Adam Duvall. They both have sucked this year. And, there might be a person watching this who loves both players.
Yeah, for a guy who does a lot of RBIs, I mean, pretty much the most opportunities for RBIs, and he's one of the worst in success rates. So that's just, fantastic. Next, we have Dominic Smith.
Expectations to be a quality bench player to potentially being the DH option. People coming out of spring training wanted to see him over Robbie Cano, and better than Cano, but that's like saying salad is better than chicken. You're right, but you're wrong at the same time. So Dom gets a D. It's on the fringe of an F, but he has played better since his promotion back. The few games that he's played better than like he was playing before being sent down to AAA.
Yeah, I also gave Dominic Smith a D. Like we've talked about before, first round pick back in 2013. He just really hasn't lived up to that expectation. And when he has, it really just hasn't been in a full season. The only reason why I didn't give him an F is because he's been okay in the high leverage plate appearances he's had. Hasn't had many of them. I am just not seeing it here, and I think it might be the end of the road for him. Come trade deadline, he might be one of the first guys out of here. Now let's go on to the $341 million man, Francisco Lindor.
I gave him a B+. Trolling with the other guy, I mean, this is all he's done offensively. He's got a lot of RBI. And if you look at his numbers, he doesn't have a great batting average. His OPS, I think, is around 750. Overall, as a player, he gives you all other assets to the game besides just being he's not an Aaron Judge. He's not Bryce Harper. He's not Trout offensively. He's a great all-around player, and he can provide you the defense, the base running, and every other asset of his game. Yeah, some people maybe he gets an A. Yeah, some people he gets a C. So for me, kind of that middle at B+.
I also went with a B+ for Francisco Lindor because the main goal this year was just to be better than he was last year. The first 2 months, he has pretty much been on a completely different pace compared to last year. And that's pretty much the only goal that I have. We've talked about Lindor before. He's not an explosive offensive player. He's a good hitter. He's not a great hitter. If he's a great hitter, he's not an elite hitter. So that's the type of scale that you have to see with Francisco Lindor. I think you take what you can get with him out of that 3 spot. And if he's driving in runs, like you said, I mean, there's nothing really much that you can really ask for. Been a great high leverage hitter his entire career, and he's been a great high leverage hitter for us so far this year. So that's all I can really ask for from him offensively. And he's on pace for a 5-win season. So that's really all I can ask for from a guy like him. Now we get to a guy who's always seemed to be the wild card on the roster. Let's talk about JD Davis.
I gave him a D. I've had enough. I've seen enough. Every time he comes to the plate, JD Davis is the definition of. Every time he steps to the plate, he's gonna hit it 107, 105 off the. You're like, it's right to a guy. It's gonna get out of there. It dies with a warning track. But then everybody's gonna say, he's hitting the bad luck. But yet these are the same people who don't realize he can't hit a fastball consistently. I've had enough of the JD Davis experiment. Bring up Mark Vientos, like literally anyone else to play the DH. Guess what? I'd rather call up a minor leaguer right now than JD Davis, because at least all they can do is hit a fastball. I've had enough of JD Davis. Give him a D.
All right, well, since I'm the analytical person, he is hitting the ball well. I did go a little bit higher than this. I did give him a C, but he is one of the most frustrating hitters I have ever seen in my life. It's whiff or barrel with this guy. That's just how he is. It's just a very frustrating type of player. He's a great hitter. He's just such a frustrating hitter, and I say this all the goddamn time. All right, let's talk about James McCann, because why not? He's been hurt, but when he was here...
one of my favorite players, James McChicken. Iconic player, the McCann and the McChicken, so many legendary nicknames. I gave him a D+. He is a catcher in today's game. They all suck. Literally everyone sucks. He has improved defensively, framing one. Look at his percentile on Baseball Savant.
Go ahead.
Better hitter than the other 2 catchers, which I'm feeling you're going to give a higher grade to for some reason. I miss James McCann, but he's better than both our catchers, so he has to have a higher grade.
I'm giving James McCann a D-. This guy sucks. I'm sorry. I can't watch this guy anymore. I can't wait for Francisco Alvarez, even though I think there's probably like any catcher in our system that can play better than this guy. One thing I will say, his defense has improved a little bit. Is it sustainable? Probably not. I'm going to tell you right now, with his reaction time, not at all. All I can say is that this guy is not worth $40 million. He's not worth a $10 million AAV. He's not even worth $5 million. The amount of cookies these people give to him, of like, oh, good, James, you made contact. This isn't Little League, okay? You're getting $40 million for the next 4 years. You should at least be a serviceable catcher, a serviceable starting catcher. You shouldn't be getting outplayed by other catchers who aren't getting paid $40 million. The guy is so brutal to watch.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about an all-star here. The McCann redemption second half. It's going to be great.
All right, let's talk about Jeff McNeil now. We're very critical of this guy. Definitely we're exploring trades, a lot of trades during the offseason.
I mean, this is another F-Dog masterclass. Signing this guy out of the Taiwanese Baseball League as a free agent. This was a great signing for Billy Epler. $800K for this random squirrel-looking dude, man. I gave him an A. Again, batting average merchant. Defensively, he's been pretty good. Again, it's hitting with the wrist. He should be starting at second base over Jazz Chisholm, and that's for damn sure in the All-Star game. But yeah, I'll give the Taiwanese MVP some credit. Again, another F-Dog masterclass, getting this guy, finding this guy out of nowhere. Good job, Billy Epler.
I'm giving Jeff McNeil an A+. I think he has been fantastic this year. The main reason is because of how well he's been with runners in scoring position, being that guy from the middle to the bottom of the lineup where there's guys runners on, and he's shortening up that approach, and he looks like Jeff McNeil again. There was a big slippery slope where this guy just looked like didn't know what type of hitter that he wanted to be, and he has looked fantastic this year. I'm loving every minute of it. He has shut me up, and I'm so glad that he has shut me up because he has been one of the main reasons for this team's success so far this season.
He's a rookie in the big leagues. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, it's enough. It's too late for this, man. We're trolling way too much. Let's get to Luis Guillorme, the man with the beard. He was without the beard, and then he started hitting. He went on a tear.
He's a person. He's a ball player. I gave him a B. I don't like his ground ball rate. A lot of his hits have been ground balls. I don't like that. He's a good shift beater. I'll give him that. He likes beating the shift. Majority of hits are coming that way. But again, solid season from Luisguero. He's a bench player still. Again, on the World Series team. He ain't playing every day. He's a bench player. So, he's taking the opportunity. He's had a good little stretch. Is it sustainable? No. But, we're going to ride this wave as much as possible. But, good meme player. Good.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Luisguero, here's the right grade. Luisguero gets an A. You know why? Because he plays his role the best. He is supposed to be that guy to come off the bench. He is supposed to be that bench bat. And when you look at this Mets bench, Dom Smith and J.D. Davis, you're getting absolutely nothing. Luisguero has been that only high spot, and we will continue to see him as that high spot because that's the type of hitter that he is. He's the man who puts the ball in play. He table sets. Not to mention, he plays incredible defense wherever you put him. The man's got quick hands. The man's got a great arm. He's Luisguero, and he is the freaking GOAT. He is a solid ball player, and that's why he's one of my favorite Mets, because he is the man of grit.
He's a lesser grade Jose Iglesias.
Now let's get to Patrick Mazeka. This guy, Patrick Mazeka, the only main thing you can say about him is that he looks like the mix between a garden gnome and the mayor of Amish country.
He hit one homer off a guy that we laughed. We said, Andres Munoz against Patrick Mazeka. That's going to be a fun shit out of the ballpark. So
that was hilarious. That was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen for a while. And this guy had those stupid fielder's choice walk-offs, what was it, 2 in a row or whatever?
Yeah.
That was probably a funnier moment than that. That was hilarious. Munoz throws gas and this guy just ticks the man over the freaking Coca-Cola corner. And you're like, what the hell is this? Patrick Mazeka also gets an F for me. He's just a minor leaguer. That's literally it. Is it really his fault? No. Our catcher got injured, so he needed to be here. He's just not a good player. We all know he's not that good of a player. He's a folk hero in our book with, the stupid stuff that he does time to time, but he's really just not that good. Let's get to the first baseman, the polar bear himself, Pete Alonso. What do you got for your big buddy, Pete? I know ever since meeting the Rhino, he has been on quite the tear.
So I am taking full advantage. You are welcome. All he had to do was turn babyface, and he became this generational hitter that you all claim.
Round of applause, folks. Round
of applause for me being fat, me going to go get a cheeseburger at Ballpark Village, and seeing this polar bear riding a scooter and going, holy shit, that's Pete Alonso. Hey, Pete, what's going on? I'm going to give him an A+. Pete's been great. Again, he's leading in RBIs, leading the National League in homers. Still not great defensively. Still dying on that tree that he should just be the DH and go at a quality scooper. He's still not clutch. He's still Lucas Duda. Hit the walk-off against the Cardinals, but had maybe the greatest walk-off call. Please insert the video here.
I absolutely will, because it was hilarious.
And Alonso has just won it for the Mets. They take 3 of 4.
Yeah, Pete gets an A+ for me too. All I can say is when they constructed this lineup in the offseason, Pete needed to be that main guy, that main source of offense. And he's in the middle of all of it, and he's been that top guy. I don't really think he's as atop of the MVP race as people are saying he is. That's another story. He has been the MVP of this team so far. I'm loving every second of it. I really think that he is, he has really sustained the type of hitter that he wants to be. And I really think that he's grown as a player massively. This one should be a very easy one, pretty quick. Robinson Cano.
F, move on.
I also have an F. There's nothing really else to say. The man's a bum. Should have cut him before opening day. It's ridiculous. And his punishment for being so fucking terrible, he was in a SpongeBob jersey, which will always be fucking hilarious. How the mighty have fallen. And then we have, last but not least, Tomas Nido. He's been pretty much the starting catcher right now since James McCann has been hurt.
This guy. I swear this man swings with his eyes closed. I swear he goes, I'm gonna hit like I gave him a D. Does not have the arm that James McCann does, but he has hit well in wrist, so I'll give him that. Again, kind of being the Lindor, he's getting his hits when there's runners in scoring position, which I would trade that any day of the week. Would love him just to send him into the incinerator and, like Patrick Mazeka, never see him again. But I miss James McCann.
Well, as someone who doesn't miss James McCann at all. Tomas Nido gets a D+ from me. He's one of the best defenders in all of baseball. That's something that you can pretty much bank on him. He's been good with runners in scoring position, which is kind of weird, but I guess he just turns on his brain when he brings on that approach. Not really good offensively. He just swings a pool noodle. He's a free swinger. Don't know how this guy won a batting title in the minor leagues, but he's the backup catcher. He's supposed to be the backup catcher. The sour taste in people's mouths have really gone up just because pretty much been starting every day since Patrick Mazeka is pretty much unplayable. He's been kind of just getting that starting catcher role when he's not really supposed to. But James McCann is coming back, so, yip-de-do.
So again, it's just gonna be so crazy when we got all these infielders, and then we're gonna do this in September, and then we're gonna have Rafael Devers, Brad Miller, Kike Hernandez, and Brett Beatty in this lineup. It's gonna be great.
What are we just cleaning out Boston?
Pretty much. We could clean out other things in Boston, but I think we'll get in trouble if we do that. Yeah.
All right, so that joke was not supposed to be on the video, so I guess we'll just end it here.
Yeah, that's not.